It is 6 a.m., and the alarm clock on your nightstand sounds less like a wake-up call and more like a starting pistol for a race you are destined to lose. You tell yourself that you are doing well because you finally landed that $30 an hour job, but as you drag yourself out of bed, you have a nagging feeling that the math just does not add up. You spend the first hour of your day preparing for a job that you only tolerate so that you can afford the car that takes you there and the house that stays empty while you are working. By the time you sit in your office chair, you have already spent $15 on gas and $10 on a mediocre coffee just to feel human enough to answer emails. You are trading the best years of your life for a number on a screen that disappears faster than you can track it. Welcome to the $30 an hour lie, where the system has successfully convinced you that you are a professional, when in reality you are just a highly efficient wealth extraction point for the elite. The first person who gets paid from your $30 hour is not you, but the government, through a complex web of federal, state, and local taxes that take 30% before you even see your paycheck. You are working from Monday morning until Tuesday afternoon just to fund a bureaucratic machine that uses your labor to print more debt and devalue your remaining currency. After the tax man takes his cut, your $30 has already shriveled down to $21, but the theft is only beginning. You then have to pay for the privilege of working, which includes the cost of your professional wardrobe, the wear and tear on your vehicle, and the astronomical price of childcare if you have a family. In 2026, the cost of just existing in the workforce has become so high that the average worker is effectively paying to have a job rather than getting paid to do one. Think about the invisible tax of the commute, because your time is the only truly finite asset you possess, and the system treats it as if it were free. If you spend 2 hours a day sitting in traffic, that is 10 hours a week of unpaid labor that you are donating to your employer and the oil companies. When you add those unpaid hours to your work week, your $30 hourly rate drops even further because you are sacrificing your life force for a commute that serves no one but the corporate structure. You arrive home exhausted and too tired to cook a healthy meal, so you spend another $20 on convenience food, which effectively wipes out another hour of your labor. The math of the modern workday is a closed loop of consumption where you work to afford the things that allow you to keep working until you have nothing left for yourself. The corporations spend millions on human resources departments to keep you focused on benefits like office snacks and ping pong tables while they quietly hollow out your long-term purchasing power. They want you to feel like part of a family so that you will feel guilty for leaving at 5 p.m. while they have zero loyalty to you the moment the quarterly profits dip. You are trading your mental health and your physical well-being for a title that means nothing in a world where the middle class is being systematically erased. The system does not want you to realize that after all your expenses are paid, you are only keeping $4 or $5 for every hour you spend away from your family. They want you to keep chasing the next raise and the next promotion because they know that as long as you are on the treadmill, you will never have the energy to build your own exit strategy. The most insulting part of the $30 an hour illusion is the astronomical cost of childcare, which effectively turns one parent into an unpaid worker for the state and the daycare industry. In 2026, if you have 2 children, you are likely paying $3,000 a month just so someone else can watch them while you sit in a cubicle producing value for a company that does not know your name. When you break down the math, you realize that after daycare costs and taxes, you are working 40 hours a week for a net profit of maybe $2 or $3 an hour. You are sacrificing the most precious years of your children's lives and missing their first steps and their first words just to break even on a corporate balance sheet. The system has successfully commoditized the family unit, ensuring that both parents are forced onto the treadmill, while the actual wealth generated by their labor is siphoned off by the institutions that provide the very services they only need because they are working. Your health insurance is another hidden tax that the system uses to anchor you to a desk, because they know that the fear of a medical bankruptcy is the most powerful leash in the world. You see a deduction on your paycheck for a premium that costs hundreds of dollars every month, yet you still have a $5,000 deductible that prevents you from actually using the care you pay for. You are essentially paying a monthly subscription fee to a billion-dollar insurance conglomerate just for the privilege of not losing your house if you get sick. In 2026, the cost of healthcare has become a primary tool of social control, making it nearly impossible for the average worker to quit their job and start their own business. You are trading your physical and mental health for a policy that only serves to keep you functional enough to return to work on Monday morning. It is a closed loop of human maintenance where you work to stay healthy enough to keep working until you are no longer useful to the machine. There is a professional tax that no one talks about, which is the thousands of dollars you spend every year on a wardrobe and a lifestyle that you only maintain to keep up appearances in the corporate hierarchy. You buy expensive suits and designer shoes and pay for dry cleaning not because you want to, but because the system demands that you look the part of a successful professional. You are essentially renting your own body to the corporation and paying for the uniform out of your own pocket, while your actual net worth stays stagnant. This is the irony of the modern workforce where you spend money, you do not have to buy clothes, you do not need to impress people who are just as broke as you are. By the time you account for the cost of maintaining your professional persona, your $30 hourly rate has been hollowed out by the very status symbols that were supposed to prove you had made it. The psychological exhaustion of the modern workday is a silent thief that steals your ability to make smart financial decisions once you finally clock out and head home. When you spend 8 hours in a high-stress environment, your brain is left in a state of decision fatigue, which makes you a prime target for the convenience economy and impulsive spending. You pay $10 for a delivery fee and $20 for a processed meal because you simply do not have the mental energy left to cook for yourself. The system wants you tired and overwhelmed because an exhausted person is a person who spends money to solve temporary problems rather than building long-term solutions. Your job is not just taking your time, it is taking your planning capacity and your creative energy, leaving you with nothing but a desire for instant gratification and mind-numbing entertainment. The math of the $30 hour is even more brutal when you compare it to the purchasing power of your grandparents who could buy a house and a car on a single blue-collar income. In 1970, $30 an hour would have made you one of the wealthiest people in the country, but in 2026, it is the bare minimum required to live a life of quiet desperation. The system has successfully inflated the cost of core assets like land and education while keeping wages suppressed through automation and global competition. You are running twice as fast just to stay in the same place, and the elites are telling you that you should be grateful for the opportunity to participate in their rigged game. The dollar has become a tool of mass deception that allows the banks to steal your time without you ever noticing the heist until it is too late to change course. Tax bracket creep is the hidden mechanism where a small raise in your salary actually results in a lower quality of life because it pushes you into a higher percentage of wealth extraction by the government. You work harder to get that promotion, and you finally see the bigger number on your contract, but then you realize that the IRS is taking a larger bite out of every extra dollar you earn. You are being penalized for your productivity, while the billionaires at the top use complex legal structures to pay a lower effective tax rate than the person cleaning their office. This is a system of modern-day serfdom where the more you produce, the more is taken from you to fund a state that views you as a permanent revenue source. The math is broken because the incentives are designed to keep you in the middle of the pack, where you are most easy to tax and most easy to control. The promise of a comfortable retirement is the ultimate carrot on a stick that the system uses to keep you compliant for 40 years, while they use your 401k and pension funds to fuel their own gambling in the stock market. They want you to defer your happiness until you are 65 years old and your health is failing, while they enjoy the fruits of your labor in the present moment. In 2026, the reality is that inflation will likely eat your retirement savings faster than you can accumulate them, leaving you with a pile of devalued paper at the end of your life. You are gambling your entire future on the hope that the system will be honest enough to pay you back in 4 decades when they have already proven they are willing to print money into oblivion today. True security is not found in a corporate promise, but in the ownership of productive assets that you control yourself. The corporate family lie is a psychological weapon used by human resources to make you feel an emotional attachment to an entity that has zero soul and zero loyalty to your well-being. They use terms like team player and company culture to guilt you into working unpaid overtime and sacrificing your weekends while they calculate exactly how much they can cut your benefits to satisfy the next shareholder meeting. You are trading your most valuable asset, which is your time, for a badge and a title that can be revoked in a 5-minute Zoom call. The system wants you to believe that your identity is tied to your job, because a man who defines himself by his work is a man who is easy to manipulate through the fear of termination. You must realize that your employer is a customer of your labor, and you should never give them a discount on your soul. The rise of the side hustle culture is a symptom of a failing economy where a full-time job is no longer enough to cover the basic cost of existing in the modern world. You are told that you need to be an entrepreneur in your spare time, which really means you are being forced to work 16 hours a day just to keep your head above water. The system has shifted the risk of the marketplace onto the individual while keeping the profits for the institutions that own the platforms. Whether you are driving for an app or selling digital products, you are still trapped in a cycle of trading time for depreciating currency while the elite harvest the data and the transaction fees. This is not the path to freedom. It is just a more efficient way to exhaust the working class before they have the chance to realize they are being fleeced. Your $30 an hour job is the primary reason you are unable to build real wealth because it provides just enough comfort to keep you from being desperate, but not enough capital to make you truly independent. It is a high-end subsistence trap where the majority of your income is spoken for before it even hits your bank account, leaving you with zero margin for error. The math of 2026 is designed to keep you in a state of permanent financial fragility where one bad month can wipe out years of disciplined saving. If you are not using your job as a temporary tool to acquire hard assets, you are essentially volunteering to stay in the digital matrix forever. The system wants you focused on your career path while they quietly move the goalposts of wealth further and further away from the reach of the average employee. The exit strategy from the work scam requires a fundamental shift in how you view your time and your value in a world that is rapidly being automated by artificial intelligence. You must stop believing that hard work alone will make you rich and start understanding that wealth is the result of owning the means of production and the assets that other people need. This means living well below your means and ignoring the status games of your coworkers so that you can funnel every spare dollar into things that pay you while you sleep. It means becoming a sovereign individual who does not rely on a single corporate paycheck for their survival. The system will tell you that this is risky, but the real risk is spending 40 years of your life working for a net profit of $4 an hour while the world passes you by. You spent 4 years and $50,000 to get a degree that only serves as an entry ticket to a cubicle where you spend the first decade of your career just paying back the interest on your education. The system has successfully front-loaded your life with debt, making it impossible for you to take risks or start your own venture while you are young and hungry. You are essentially working for the student loan office before you ever work for yourself or your family, and by the time you pay off the principal, the world has already moved on to the next crisis. This is a form of sophisticated indentured servitude where the bank owns your potential before you even have a chance to realize it. They want you focused on your monthly loan balance so that you never have the mental bandwidth to realize that the degree was just a down payment on a lifetime of cubicle-bound dependency. Your employer sees your 8-hour workday, but the reality for you is a 12-hour commitment that includes the soul-crushing commute and the unpaid preparation time required to appear professional in a corporate environment. When you divide your actual take-home pay by the 12 hours you dedicate to the job every single day, your hourly rate collapses from $30 to something that would make a Victorian factory worker feel sympathetic. You are burning expensive gasoline and rapidly depreciating your vehicle just to sit in a building you do not own, to make money for people who do not even know your children's names. Your time is being stolen in 4-mile increments, and the system tells you it is just the price of doing business, while they harvest the data from your commute to sell you more things you do not need. They keep you in the chair not because of the salary, but because of the deep-seated fear that a single broken bone or a sudden illness could bankrupt your entire existence without the corporate health plan. The insurance industry has become the primary enforcer of the modern workforce, ensuring that you remain compliant and productive just to keep your family covered by a policy with a high deductible you can barely afford to hit. It is a brilliant and sinister form of control where your physical well-being is held hostage by your employment status, and the fear of the unknown keeps you from ever questioning the status quo. You are trading your soul for a plastic card that promises to protect you from a system that is actively making you sick with chronic stress and burnout. This is human maintenance disguised as a benefit, and it is designed to keep you functional enough to return to work on Monday morning, but never healthy enough to walk away. While you are focused on meeting your monthly quotas and pleasing your manager, the financial architects are already building artificial intelligence systems that will make your $30 an hour skills obsolete within the next 5 years. They do not need your loyalty or your hard work anymore because they have figured out how to replicate your cognitive labor with a piece of software that never sleeps and never asks for a raise. If you are not using your current income to buy back your sovereignty today, you are essentially waiting for the moment the algorithm decides you are no longer a profitable line item on the corporate balance sheet. The window to escape the traditional workforce is closing faster than most people realize, and the individuals who rely solely on a paycheck are the most vulnerable in the upcoming economic reset. The ultimate truth is that the $30 an hour job is a sophisticated filter designed to catch the most capable and intelligent members of society and trap them in a cycle of high-end consumption and low-grade debt. True wealth is not about the luxury car in your driveway or the impressive title on your business card, but about the number of days you can live your life without being told what to do by an employer or a bank. My name is John, and I am here to tell you that the Matrix only has power over you as long as you believe in the value of their paper and the safety of their outdated structures. It is time to stop being a victim of the math and start becoming a master of your own financial destiny by owning hard assets and reclaiming every single hour of your life. Subscribe to this channel and let us finish deconstructing the lie together so that you can finally build a blueprint for a life that is truly yours. The exit strategy from the work scam requires a fundamental shift in how you view your time and your value in a world that is rapidly being automated by artificial intelligence. You must stop believing that hard work alone will make you rich and start understanding that wealth is the result of owning the means of production and the assets that other people need. This means living well below your means and ignoring the status games of your coworkers so that you can funnel every spare dollar into things that pay you while you sleep. It means becoming a sovereign individual who does not rely on a single corporate paycheck for their survival. The system will tell you that this is risky, but the real risk is spending 40 years of your life working for a net profit of $4 an hour while the world passes you by. My name is John, and I have dedicated my life to exposing the blueprints of the elite so that you can finally see the chains that are hidden in plain sight. The $30 an hour job is one of the most effective cages ever built because it looks like a golden opportunity from the outside while it feels like a prison from the inside. It is time to wake up and stop serving the interests of the banks and the corporations and start serving your own future and the future of your family. We are living through the greatest financial reset in history, and the people who understand the math will be the ones who survive. Subscribe to this channel and join me as we continue to deconstruct the matrix and build a blueprint for a life that you actually own. The math is broken, but your future doesn't have to be if you start playing a different game today. The corporations spend millions on human resources departments to keep you focused on benefits like office snacks and ping pong tables while they quietly hollow out your long-term purchasing power. They want you to feel like part of a family so that you will feel guilty for leaving at 5 p.m., while they have zero loyalty to you the moment the quarterly profits dip. You are trading your mental health and your physical well-being for a title that means nothing in a world where the middle class is being systematically erased. The system does not want you to realize that after all your expenses are paid, you are only keeping $4 or $5 for every hour you spend away from your family. They want you to keep chasing the next raise and the next promotion because they know that as long as you are on the treadmill, you will never have the energy to build your own exit strategy.